What's going on, everyone? The Oscars are tonight, so I am going to be casting my own ballot as per the Vanity Fair website. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to predict the winners, which I'm sure I will get a handful of them wrong, as I do every year. And I know a lot of you guys are very skeptical on Oscars, like none of my favorites made it in, or only a couple of my favorites made it in, or they got this wrong. I know that there's all that talk every year, but I challenge you as a film fan to just look at this as a day to celebrate your favorites from the year prior and just have fun with it, as all of our opinions are very different. None of us are ever going to have a perfect match to what the Oscars decided to nominate and celebrate, but they always do, in my opinion, get a handful of great nominations in there. And I think that's what matters, is we can just celebrate the movies from the prior year in general, this one being obviously 2025, and I already put up my top 10 favorites of 2025 personally. Hope you guys go check that out. I will link it to the end of this video. All that being said, this next portion is going to be a little bit more raw, a little bit less edited, but we're just going to sit there and try to figure out who is going to win each category this year. So let's have some fun and do that. Okay, so I'm going to start from the bottom here. We have Best Documentary Short, All the Empty Rooms, Children No More Were and Are Gone, Perfectly a Strangeness, Armed Only with the Camera, The Life and Death of Brent Renaud, and The Devil is Busy. I am going to pick these at random, or at least this one, because I did not see any of these. So whatever I pick, it's got to be it. Doesn't matter what they say the results are. So let's take a look. I'm going to try to pick The Devil is Busy here, and actually looks like now everybody's saying All the Empty Rooms. Okay, I'm going with The Devil is Busy. It was my random pick, and I'm going to stick to it. Let's move on up here to the next category, which is Best Live Action Short, another one I didn't see any of. We have Butcher's Stain, Jane Austen's period drama, Two People Exchanging Saliva. Oh, that sounds disgusting. A Friend of Dorothy, The Singers. I think we're going to go with the Jane Austen, just because of the name Jane Austen. I mean, I feel like this might be it. So let's go with this one. Jane Austen's period drama. Oh, and it looks like most people think it's going to be A Friend of Dorothy. Go figure. All right. We're going to go into Best Animated Short. Did not see any of these, not going to lie to you guys. Butterfly, The Girl Who Cried Pearls. Sorry, I almost said Paris. The Three Sisters, Forever Green, Retirement Plan. Let's go with Retirement Plan. And, oh, most people think The Girl Who Cried Pearls is going to win, but we're going to stick to that random choice there. Okay. Best Visual Effects. This I could speak to a little bit more. Avatar, Fire and Ash, Jurassic World Rebirth, Sinners, F1, The Lost Bus. I feel like most years you would have to say Avatar, Fire and Ash, but part of me is feeling like the Academy might be saying to themselves, listen, we've seen Avatar before, it's nothing new. So maybe they're going to go with F1 because of that. So I'm going to go ahead and go with F1 myself. And most people say it's Avatar, Fire and Ash, which is, again, probably a safe bet. Most years you'd obviously go with Avatar, Fire and Ash, but I think that they might be thinking, hey, you know what? Seen this before. Let's go with F1. And F1's visuals, absolutely, I mean, it deserves it if it does win, honestly. So let's take a look up here at this category, which is Best Sound, and we have F1, One Battle After Another, Seurat, Frankenstein, and Sinners. I think it's obviously got to be F1. And most people agree with me. F1 sound, holy cow. I remember sitting in that IMAX and just being stunned by the sound of the cars. I mean, holy cow, they did a great job. Here we have Best Production Design. We're looking at Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, Sinners, Hamnet, One Battle After Another. Production design, you're talking about the sets here, so I'm trying to think of what would have had the best sets. I think it's probably between Sinners and Frankenstein, but also Hamnet can kind of sneak in there as well. I'm going to personally go with Frankenstein. Just, I think that the sets were a lot more extensive on that one. So, and it does look like most people agree with Frankenstein. So moving up into Best Makeup and Hairstyling, we have Frankenstein, Sinners, The Ugly Stepsister, Kakuho, and The Smashing Machine. You know what? This is going to be unpopular, but I am going to say The Smashing Machine should win this because of what they did to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and they made him look very, very close. However, I do have to think about Oh, I have to think about the fact that that movie everything seems to be working against Smashing Machine this year for one reason or the other. Or maybe I just liked it more than most people. I'm going to say maybe Frankenstein gets this. So I'm going to predict that. And it looks like most people agree with me on there. So let's see. Best casting. We have Marty Supreme, the Secret Agent, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I would say Sinners probably has like the best like ensemble, but I think considering it, this is just my opinion, I think most of the acting awards are going to go to One Battle After Another, and I think they're going to look at that. So maybe, yeah, One Battle After Another will be my prediction. It looks like a lot of people are saying Sinners, and I think that that might be a safe bet, but I'm going to stick with mine on One Battle After Another for my prediction. All right. Let's see, we got best film editing here. We're looking at F1, One Battle After Another, Sinners, Marty Supreme, and Sentimental Value. Ooh, editing. It's really interesting because I think that a lot of people are probably going to say One Battle After Another because of all the different pieces that it's playing with. But if you're asking me, I'm going to say Marty Supreme because I think that these editors are almost also going to look at how seamless the edit was, right? With Marty Supreme, that movie just kind of keeps going. And again, that's not a diss at One Battle After Another. I am so impressed with all the pieces that Paul was able to put in there with that film. But I think, honestly, Marty Supreme is going to be the one because of how seamless it does play. Like, you just don't, there's something to that edit that you just don't notice the runtime. Like, really, it's pretty astounding. And that one should probably win this one. I think it will. So I'm going to vote that, even though, yep, most people, I figured then that might be a safer bet. One Battle After Another on that. Best costume design. We're looking at Avatar, Fire and Ash, Hamnet, Sinners, Frankenstein, and Marty Supreme. You know what? I'm going to say just costume design might go to Avatar. I think it should go to Frankenstein, but I think people are going to vote Avatar on this, even though I think it should go to Frankenstein. I know that the ballot's supposed to be, what do you think should win? But we're doing predictions here today, folks. We're going to try to get them all right. So to me, I'm going to go Avatar, Fire and Ash, which is going to bring up a whole controversy, I feel like. This is going to win, and people are going to say, well, it's animated, you know, so it's not real costumes. It's like somebody still has to design the look and attire. So I'm going to go with Avatar, Fire and Ash on that. But most people were with my original pick, or what I think should win. I'm not changing. I'm not changing it over. I'm going to be fair. And I'm still going to say Avatar, Fire and Ash. I think that'll be a big controversy this year. That's my prediction, because Oscars has to have something that's like, you know, big and controversial. So we're moving on to best cinematography. This might be one of the toughest categories this year, to be honest with you. We have Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Train Dreams, Marty Supreme, and Sinners. And we're gonna look at this in a weird sort of way here, because I do think at the end of the day it's coming down between One Battle After Another and Sinners, although I think Frankenstein can sneak in there and be kind of an upset on that. But when I'm thinking about the two, between One Battle After Another and Sinners, I think that One Battle After Another may have had the better cinematography. Like, the shots that Paul Thomas Anderson chose, I think, are just slightly, just ever so slightly better than the ones that Ryan Coogler chose for Sinners. But I gotta say, I do feel like if we're going to give what's most deserving at the same time, we cannot, like, deny the fact that Sinners has more aspect ratios going on, and I think that that's going to play a big part into the Academy's decision here. I mean, okay, like, let me rephrase. I think One Battle After Another might be the more deserving, but Sinners is probably going to win this because of the different aspect ratios and stuff it used. So I'm going to go with Sinners on this. That's my prediction, and most people agree. Look at that. All right. It doesn't mean it's going to win. Best original song. We have Dear Me, I Lied to You, Train Dreams, Golden, and Sweet Dreams of Joy. Let's see. If this is a no-brainer. I mean, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters. It's been winning all the awards. It's like the best song of the year to a lot of people. So I'm gonna say Golden. I think that's a no-brainer, and most people do seem to agree that Golden will win, and it's the one that deserves it too, by the way. That, holy cow. I love Golden. Best original score, we're looking at Begonia, Hamnet, Sinners, Frankenstein, One Battle After Another. You know, I gotta say, Begonia is the one I saw most recently on this list, and that score just thoroughly it shocked me. I mean, I was really in love with that score. But Ludwig Göransson comes through every year. I do think he's going to be the one to win here. I think Ludwig, I don't know, has he ever won an Oscar before? I don't think he has, but either way, like, you can't deny the work that he does time and time again, and I do think Sinners is going to win. It does look like most people agree with that pick. Best documentary feature, not seen any of these. The Alabama Solution, Cutting Through Rocks, The Perfect Neighbor, Come See Me in the Good Light, Mr. Nobody Against Putin. All right, I am gonna say The Perfect Neighbor on a random guess, and let's see. Oh, I got the majority on that one. So, all right, cool, 57% there. All right, best animated feature. Looking at Arco, K-pop Demon Hunters, Zootopia 2, Elio, Little Amelie, or The Character of Rain. Really interesting, because you would think that this is a no-brainer. I do want to mention, I'm not going to be surprised 100% if Zootopia 2 comes in there and is some kind of an upset to this, but it's we're pretty much all in agreement, right? It's K-pop Demon Hunters, and well-deserved. I mean, I've not seen another animated feature quite like it, and it's one of my favorite films of the year. I actually think it should be in the best picture category as well as animated feature. Call me crazy, but I do think K-pop Demon Hunters is going to take it. I think that one is pretty much a no-brainer, but like I said, don't be surprised as Zootopia 2. I mean, there is a certain love for Zootopia, and don't be surprised if that sneaks up there. But like I said, I'm pretty positive, and it looks like a vast majority does agree. K-pop Demon Hunters will be the pick. Best international feature, we're looking at The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, The Voice of Hind Rahab, It Was Just an Accident, and Sirat. I hope I said that right. All right, gosh, this is a really tough one. I'm hearing a lot of great. It's got to be between Secret Agent and Sentimental Value, right? Because those two are also in the Best Picture category, if I'm not mistaken. But I do think it might be the Secret Agent. I'm hearing this like sort of last minute buzz on this one, and I'm gonna go with it. Even though I know that the safer bet here might be Sentimental Value to a lot of people, I'm actually hearing this last minute hype with Secret Agent, and I think it might take it. So I'm gonna vote that. And most people do think it's Sentimental Value. Of course, it's like gonna be the safer bet probably. Best adapted screenplay, we're looking at Begonia, Hamnet, Train Dreams, Frankenstein, and One Battle After Another. Again, I'm gonna say something, okay, this is how I feel. Like, Frankenstein probably deserves this, and this is a bias because I've read the book. Because if you're looking at adaptation, should probably go to Frankenstein. Most people are gonna say it's One Battle After Another. I am going to do the outside shot on this one. I'm saying Frankenstein. So, you know what? I think it's a book that's more popular, and I think when people are looking at adapted, they're going to think about this book. I think there's probably a good amount of the Academy that's read this book. I don't know how many people have read One Battle After Another, or the book that it was based on, which I don't know the name of. Might be the same thing, but I gotta say, while I think that there is a real huge love for One Battle After Another, and we'll get to that here in a bit, I think Frankenstein might win this because we're talking adaptation, right? Although Hamnet's got that same thing with but I think Frankenstein is like, because it's just such a popular book, you know what I mean? Like, even I've read it, right? So that should say something. And I think when people are thinking about that, and even people in the Academy, which I know we accuse of being stingy from time to time, and they love One Battle After Another, and I know that like it's between that and Hamnet being an upset, but I think on the outside shot, I'm gonna go with it. I do think Frankenstein might win. I might be completely wrong. You can call me an idiot all you want, and that's fair, because most people do think it's One Battle. But going into Best Original Screenplay, we're looking at Blue Moon, Marty Supreme, Sinners, It Was Just an Accident, and Sentimental Value. I am going to say it's going to be Sinners. It's the favorite, right? And I gotta say, of all these, it's definitely the one that deserves it the most as well. So I'll say Sinners, and I think that they will go Sinners on that too. Best Supporting Actor, Benicio del Toro, Delroy Lindo, Stellan Skarsgård, Jacob Elordi, and Sean Penn. It's really interesting, and I do think it's going to be Sean Penn. And I think Sean Penn just like genuinely deserves it the most, because if we're looking at like the range that he's putting into this role, right, in One Battle After Another, I gotta say, like, he definitely is the one that is like, he's the furthest from himself, right? But Benicio del Toro, from One Battle After Another, is strangely for me like the character I think about the most. I don't know why that is. Like, coming out of that movie, it's the performance I think about the most. But Sean Penn is the most deserving, and I do think that they will go most deserving on that. So I'm going to say Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. Looks like most people agree with me on that. And to me, it's almost kind of a no-brainer, and why wouldn't you? Elle Fanning Best Supporting Actress, they're looking at Elle Fanning, Amy Madigan for Weapons, Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another, Inga Ib's daughter, Lily Oss for Sentimental Value, and Wunmi Masaku for Sinners. Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value too. We had 2 for Sentimental Value in here. This is actually, I guess I'm just realizing that. For some reason I thought Odessa, what's her name, from Marty was in this, but Marty Supreme was in this, but I guess they did 2 for Sentimental Value. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just, surprised by that choice. I guess I just never realized that prior. But we're gonna go with Amy Madigan for Weapons. I think that's actually the no-brainer pick. I'm not saying nobody else deserves it. I think Tiana Taylor could slide in and be an upset for that, but I definitely think we're looking at Amy Madigan for Weapons. I mean, you look at that performance and it was just stunning. So I think Amy Madigan will win for that for sure, and almost a no-brainer, like I said. Best actors, you're looking at Timothy Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon, Wagner, I think it's actually like Wagner Moura, I don't know, Wagner Moura for Secret Agent, apologize sir, One Battle After Another, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another rather, and Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. I think this is going to be the tough one. Like, I think a lot of people think it's Michael B. Jordan based on the way that they went in SAG, which was surprising because it was like Timothy Chalamet all year, and then we had this kind of last minute twist up with Michael B. Jordan. I think Michael B. Jordan deserves this award. So personally, because I think that doing the dual roles, he's earned it. I still think it's Timothy Chalamet's year. I really do. And I'm going to say he's going to get it over Michael B. Jordan. And that's not the popular opinion. Most people think it's Michael B. Jordan, but I'm telling you, we're really thinking about it because of the buzz I've heard about Timothy Chalamet's performance. I've seen the movie as well. He's great. But is it Timothy Chalamet's best performance? I mean, if we're talking about Timothy Chalamet playing Bob Dylan against Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, that's a different conversation. But we're talking about Timothy Chalamet and Marty Supreme. I think Michael B. Jordan definitely deserves this one, 100%. And he, what he did to me is just more impressive than what Timothy Chalamet did. But I think Chalamet is going to get it. I truly do. And I think it'll be a little controversial because I think that some people have really turned on Chalamet in recent days. But I do think he's going to get it. I think people are going to look at the performance and say, I don't know, whatever. It was always the buzz this year was that performance and not so much Michael B. Jordan. And again, I know SAG, twisted, but I think it's going to be Chalamet. I truly do. I think he's going to get it this year. Best Actress, looking at Jessie Buckley in Hamnet, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Emma Stone, Begonia, Rose Byrne, If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, Renati Reinsve for Sentimental Value. Now, I think it's going to be Jessie Buckley for Hamlet. I actually think that's almost a no-brainer. So that's where I'm going to go, but I'm not going to be surprised if Rose Byrne slides in and as an upset because man, that was stellar work from her, and we hadn't seen work from Rose Byrne like that before. Not saying, I guess I can't think of a time Jessie Buckley. I don't know. Has Jessie Buckley been nominated before? But seeing the two, I think it should go to Jessie Buckley and probably will. But Rose Byrne as well, like really carries that film. So don't be surprised if she slides in as like an upset. But I'm gonna go with Jessie Buckley, and the vast majority agrees. So. There we go. Best Director, we're looking at Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme, Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Ryan Coogler for Sinners, and Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value. I gotta say, I do think it's going to be Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. That's where I think it's going to go. I think that there might be a mismatch this year, though, and I think that Ryan Coogler can come in as an upset, and we'll get into that in a little bit when we talk about Best Picture. I think Ryan Coogler can come in as like an upset and win for Sinners, and this to me, these big awards is like where the fun comes into it too. It's fascinating because you never know if there's going to be a mismatch between that Best Picture and Best Director. I do think it's going to be Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another, and most deserving in my opinion as well. So I'm going to, pick him for that. But yes, don't be surprised if Coogler slips in and it's an upset, right? But looking at Best Picture, now this is the big one, obviously. We have Begonia, Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, The Secret Agent, Sinners, F1, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, and Train Dreams. I think there's a possibility that people are going to look at Begonia and One Battle After Another, and they're going to talk about how these two movies, they're going to look at these and not be able to decide between the two, and how they think of important issues. And I think that there's a possibility that Sinners takes Best Picture. I also don't want to discount the Guillermo del Toro factor with Frankenstein. I know you can call me crazy, but Guillermo del Toro, man, he is one of our greats. And this movie, it spoke to people. I don't think it's going to be Frankenstein, but I just don't discount it at 100% is all I'm saying, that Frankenstein might take Best Picture. But it's a big decision. I'm going to go with the one that I think should win it, and the one I think will win it is One Battle After Another. And it does seem at this point the vast majority does agree with that. I shouldn't even say vast majority, because you look at Sinners coming in here real close with the 32%. But also, I know it's not high on the list here, but I do think Frankenstein spoke to people a certain way. It is Guillermo del Toro's passion project. I think that they're going to look at how a couple of these, it's like, okay, these are the films that touched on super important issues. Let's go to the one that was mostly entertaining, but also left us feeling a certain type of way about relationships with our fathers, and that could speak to a lot of people in the Academy. So I'm not saying it's going to, and I don't think it will, but Frankenstein, it's a possibility. Don't discount it 100%. But yeah, One Battle After Another to me is the safe bet, the one I'm going with, and the most deserving. It's my favorite on this list. My favorite film of 2025. My favorite of 2025 was Bring Her Back. Spoiler alert for my top 10 films of 2025. But this one definitely should get it of these. So hopefully I'm right about that, but we'll see. I'm not going to be mad if Sinners takes it. I'm not going to be mad if Frankenstein takes it. Hell, I wouldn't even be mad really if Begonia or Marty took it. I think all those films are very deserving to be in this category. Hamnet's a good film. I don't know if I'd necessarily put it here, and Secret Agent, I didn't see, it's going to sound bad, I didn't see the two international features voted in here this year. And Train Dreams, I also did not get a shot to watch this year, but F1 was a big surprise. I don't know that it necessarily deserves to be here. I could have swapped that one out. Again, same with Hamnet, I could have swapped that out with something else, but that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, One Battle After Another, I'm saying it now. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this little prediction segment for the Oscars tonight. I really hope that you guys share your predictions with me and let me know what you think is going to win, what's not going to win, what are going to be the major upsets of the night. What do you think is going to happen? So let me know in the comments below all that, and it's been fun talking with you guys today about this. I'm very excited to see the outcome of the Oscars tonight, and if you like what you saw here today, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit the bell for notifications. Always much appreciated. Without further ado, my name is Dom, and I will talk to you guys later.